I don't want to make excuses, but the Mets, all their hits were soft contact. How does it keep happening? It was lucky hits. Oh my God. There's no chance they can sustain this. Yeah, yes they can. They've done it the entire season. Shut your ass up. I'm sorry. Phillies fans, broadcasters, Braves fans, Braves broadcasters, keep it coming. Please, it is not stopping the Mets from securing a series dub. Not my fault that your team could not even amount one run the past day in a matter of 2-game span, and you won a game where you had the ghost runner in the first game. Get out of here with your nonsense, you bums. Mets win this one 6-0. Let's get those dubs in the chat. Let me see them right now. Spam them in the live show. Spam that like and subscribe button, guys. Help us get to 100 likes for the first short-term goal. Always appreciate it. I just love it. This is what makes me thrive. It's like I'm soaking up. I'm licking the tears. You schmucks down in the barrel in the NL East. Guys, we got a big matchup starting tomorrow against those Atlanta Braves. For Atlanta, let's go, baby. The crying man himself, Spencer Strider, on the bump tomorrow. Let's see what happens. I'm feeling electric about this team. Big win. The Mets bats finally woke up in this series against what you could rightfully argue could have been their biggest foe, pitching-wise, and former Met now foe, and Zach Wheeler. No, the Mets tag up on him. They get runs early. They get runs often. I don't care if you have an exit velo of 75 miles per hour upwards of 100. It's baseball. How about instead of crying about it being soft contact, why don't you worry about knowing how to properly shift when not knowing when not to shift, and actually understanding that the whole point of baseball the other day is to put the ball where they ain't. And that's exactly what the Mets do almost every single night. So to everyone, so all the fans out there crying, when's it going to stop? I mean, we're over 100 games into the season. You'd imagine it's going to stop at some point, right? No. I really am not a believer that this is going to stop for the Mets. This is a focal point of their offense, is knowing to hit for opposite field, to spread the ball around the diamond, and to make things happen offensively to really catch teams off guard. Let's see how the Braves do well against here. They're just about to sweep. If not, they already swept against the Marlins, so they're still riding high against subpar teams. Against good teams, not so much. A big 4-game matchup that I'll be deep diving a lot about. That'll be coming out early tomorrow. Bleav in Queens, episode 14. Myself and Anthony Recker, the former New York Met, now, of course, MLB Network and Apple TV Plus analyst, and, of course, our co-host on the Bleav in Queens pod. We'll be deep diving everything that you need to know about this Phillies series, our raw reactions further, and taking a look at a massive 4-game set against the Braves. But right now, guys, let's deep dive. Let's talk about another strong win for the Amazons. Yes, Joely Rodriguez, of course, he's erratic in the ninth. God forbid we get consistency from this southpaw on the bend. But thankfully, Amadvino comes in for the final out. He shuts him down with bases juice. Not a problem, folks. And the Amazons continue to tack on wins. Some records were broken today, led by Francisco Lindor, that we'll get into here shortly. But guys, more than anything, I want to see some more hype in the chat. Let's get those dubs going. Darren, thank you so much for chiming in. Thank you so much for the membership update. I greatly appreciate you, my man. Hype in the chat for Darren, guys. He actually has an interview that just came out over the past day on the New York Mets YouTube channel with Mets Up, my guys at James and Mark. Of course, they do a great job, the official podcast of the New York Mets. Make sure to check out their interview from a couple weeks ago with Darren Ferguson, the best Mets fan you'll ever meet from the UK. Get some hype in the chat for him as well. But guys, I got a lot to say about the Mets. The Mets finished their homestand today, folks. 9-2. 9-2 in an 11-game span. And quite literally, that one game that they lost in this Phillies series, in which, of course, I was in attendance at, so you can blame me. Blame the schmuck. I've done well in attendance so far this year, but not today, and not back on Friday. Unfortunately, it is what it is. The Mets, though, was a tight game there, and their other loss was when Taijuan Walker gave up 8 in an inning, and they still made a ball game out of it and scored 6 runs, so I wasn't crying then. I'm not now. This Mets team is locked in. They're continuing to win ball games against good pitchers, and again, at the end of the day, you just need to be better than the other team's starters. The Phillies offense was absolutely god-awful this entire series. With no Kyle Schwarber, still with no Bryce Harper, this was not a recipe for success on their end, and that was full-fledged. We saw it bestowed right before our eyes. This was a Phillies team that did not have anything going against a Mets team that has star-studded pitching, similar to the Phillies, but even better. When you have Mad Max and Jake back-to-back, and then you have Seabass going 5 strong today, an absolute bulldog, having runners in second and third with no out halfway through this game towards the end, in the middle of the game, I should say, and he gets out of that jam unscathed, Seabass is a bulldog. The bullpen steps up as well. Joel, even though he didn't give up an earned run, man, oh man, did he have all those Mets fans, their hearts palpitating a little bit. Nothing can be easy at times. Well, what is easy is looking at the Mets securing another Series W, guys. So let's get into the show. Everyone, thank you so much again for being here. I greatly appreciate you. Max and Jake weren't arguing. No, it was Jake ranting and just expressing his opinions about something. Yeah, no, he wasn't arguing with Max from what I saw. It was just Max was just taking in whatever Jake had to really fend off and explain to him that he wasn't happy with, or he was just explaining a little sternly, however the manner was. I wouldn't be concerned about it, though. I just want to put it there because every time that you see Jake and Max together, it's always a great thing. I mean, it's still, I feel like you still have to pinch me as a Mets fan to believe that that's a reality, that we got these two best pitchers in baseball in the same rotation, in the same dugout, on the same Mets team. Wow, does that feel good? It always does. Let me get some water, guys, and let's deep dive this Mets W. A nice Mets W. Some soft contact, lucky hits, as they would call it. Get out of here with this nonsense. If you've been watching the Mets every single game, let me get a water here. That tastes good. If you've been watching the Mets on an everyday basis this entire season, folks, then you know damn well that this is not a fluke. I was listening to the Phillies radio today because I had to bounce between different streams and different ways to watch a game. I reside in PA, so they always black me out whenever they're playing the Mets, even when they're in Citi Field. So I was watching the game on TV, and then there were points where if I was out of my house, I was listening on the radio. When I was listening to Phillies radio, it was just so hilarious to me how they were basically saying, "Oh, lucky hits," and then you heard on the Phillies broadcast, and he literally said to start off, he's like, I don't want to make excuses here. The Mets have hit around on Wheeler bit today, but all those hits were, 72 miles per hour, 69 miles per hour, 75 miles per hour, 78 miles per hour, as if that means anything. It's called spreading the field. How about you stop striking out right through the dick, and how about you actually put the ball in play like a Compton baseball team? I know that's hard to fathom for you Philly fans and broadcasters. When you get paid guys, actually, pardon my French, bitching about something like this, the same way that the Braves and their broadcasters did. It's absolutely hilarious. If you actually follow the opposing teams in your division this year, in this case, clearly you don't, not nearly enough. I try to stay in tune pretty well with the Phillies, with the Braves, and others, because it's important to see how these teams are doing, especially as they eventually match up against our team in Queens, the Mets. It's just so funny, the lack of awareness that these broadcasters, that these fans have, as if this is the most mind-boggling thing, as if they've never seen this. It's happened since game one this year. We've seen it every single series. They are not stopping by putting the ball in play. It doesn't matter if it's a piss missile of a bomb from Daniel Vogelbach today. Shout out to Vogie Hoagie, you sexy mofo. Or if it's some soft contact bloop like a James McCann RBI. Should have been 2 RBI single, but we'll get into that in a second. Leading with Luis Guillorme's injury, my thoughts on that. But the point is that they have literally been doing this every single game. And now you're going to act surprised? Get out of here. If anything, that just shows you how piss poor of a broadcast you are for not focusing on the biggest team in your division nearly enough this year. Because if you did, then you would know damn well one of the major factors to the Mets' success this year is that they have been able to sustain soft contact hits, to sustain hitting for opposite field, to sustain that balance of not just bloop and a blast. They have it both. That's something where you look at the Phillies, the ball go boom. That's all you're going to get. Braves, the ball go boom. That's all you're going to get. It genuinely cracks me the hell up that we are still in this spot with the Mets right now, and people don't understand. They can't comprehend that this is an actual thing, that teams know how to spread the field, that they know how to play Compton baseball, that they know how to play Compton defense, that they know how to be Compton on the base pass. Don't get me wrong, the Mets were not great defensively or on the base pass for the entirety of this series, especially game one in which I was attendance at. They were god-awful on both those things, injuries aside. Point I'm trying to make is that the Mets are balanced, and they have proven time and time again their style of play. So I'm just... It cracks me up. I want to hear more players complain. I want to hear more broadcasters complain. I want to hear more Mets fans, I'm not Mets fans, opposing fans complain about the soft contact as lucky, because the more that they complain, the more that they view this as, oh, they're just getting lucky. They're not going to be able to hit different, when the Mets are going to continue their game plan. They're going to continue to catch them off guard, and the teams and the Braves and the Phillies are going to continue to be rattled because they don't know how to combat this. So for that reasoning, I want them to continue with this mindset. But overall, it's just hilarious that they are not picking up on this shit yet. Are you going to? Are the Braves finally going to start to realize that there's a great chance? If the Braves are actually performing well, they have well against the Marlins. They're about to sweep them if they didn't already. if the Braves actually have a game plan for the Mets, then they should figure out how to properly defend, how to not shift, even when you know very well that maybe you can go opposite field. You want to make sure you're in a good spot defensively, and you really want to try to lessen the blow on those soft contact hits. What are you doing as a pitcher with your approach to the batters that you're allowing Mets hitters to grind out at bat still? I know these Mets hitters can be great at times, but pitchers, you guys need to be better on getting those outs. So are the Braves finally going to combat this? Are we going to see less soft contact in this series? Maybe, but here's the other counter. If there is a soft contact counter, the Mets have beaten the Braves at their own game with home runs this year too. So I love the chances of the Mets in this upcoming series against the Bravos, right? Whatever you want to call them, the schmucks with the little chop thing going on, however you're doing. But what I do know is that the Mets right now are a team that has not been tested with their game plan nearly enough. Let's see what the Braves' game plan is tomorrow. Again, they may have something up their sleeve. If they do, then good for them. It's about damn time. You waited until you're 6 to 7 games out of first. Congratulations. But then you will see what happens with the Phillies next weekend, too. But enough of me ranting. I ranted a lot. I will a little bit more later in the show. I do see a donation or two, so let me get to that, guys, and then let's break down this Mets game. Normally, I've already broken it down by now, but again, I had to unleash it. I had to let you guys know because it cracks me up, and I also lose my mind at the same time simultaneously that fans and broadcasters, people that are paid big bucks for this, don't understand common baseball. I'm sorry that you don't watch your rivals nearly enough. You probably should, again, if you're covering a team that is trying to overcome that said team in the division. But, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm just a YouTuber ranting. Who knows? Pat Mets with a $20 donation. Thank you so much for that. He says, the Mets are playing real baseball. This is how it used to be. Build runs. This is what makes exciting baseball. Shout out to Buck. Shout out to Eric Chavez. The Mets know how to use small ball and big ball. They know old school, new school, but they combine it together for this beautiful flow that is New York Mets offense. Yes, it's not going to be pretty every day. And yes, there will be games that we saw in the first 2 games where the Mets offense gets completely shut down, but they will still be able to combat it enough. And they thankfully, for the large portion of the season, have had such competent pitching, decent enough bullpen that they can get through the ebbs and flows of a season where you have your highs, you have your lows offensively because the pitchers stay rock solid. And that was the case for Seabass today. Trevor Williams, Michael Givens, Joely Rodriguez, not so much. But again, thankfully he didn't give up a run because Adam Ottavino saved the day for us. 1,200, thank you so much for the donations. Bassett looked good, dominant. Vogt still killing it. Marte, come on, man. Not mad, but disappointed. Zapucki would have stolen that base in 27. Zapucki would have stolen that base. You're cracking me up. Yeah, I mean, Marte, it makes me still think of, game 1. I'm still bothered that Joey Cora let him run there that shallow when that should not have been the play that he was running. Again, it's neither here nor there. It is what it is. Marte's not always going to have the base running, but I always appreciate his aggressiveness. But yes, I get what you're saying. Appreciate that donation, no less, my friend. But guys, let's talk in order about this Mets game. How exactly did they win today, folks? Because it started off with the man who we actually talked about in yesterday's post-game show, saying, what's the reason for Brandon Nimmo and his struggles, right? He's been really aggressive with his at-bats. He's gained charge in the zone more and more than he has previously in his career because people know by now that Brandon Nimmo's an on-base cane. He's going to take pitches out of the zone. You're not going to see him chase too much. So naturally, as a pitcher, when you know that play card, you understand the assignment against him, you're going to charge him in the zone and hope that you can attack and get some swing and misses, get some ground outs, which has been the case as to why Brandon Nimmo has not played great baseball here in the second half. However, Brandon Nimmo today was the play setter for the Mets early with a beautiful double to lead off the game. And Francisco Lindor, who entered tonight's game, tied with Jose Reyes, his record for the most RBIs in the New York Mets organization by a shortstop. He would supersede and get past Reyes for now the new all-time record in Mets history with his 82nd RBI of the year. We're right around 50 games left, baby. Francisco gets himself a nice bloop RBI single, similar to Alonso yesterday. Even though Alonso was the opposite field bloop that we kind of saw there to Castellanos today, it was a pull bloop there by Lindor to Castellanos that drives in the first run. And this was another story, guys. The Mets got the first run of the game in the first yesterday. They never looked back. Today, same story again. They got the first run in the first and never looked back. The Phillies had nothing. They had nada. They tried to build up the pitch count. They did succeed that with Chris Bassett only allowing him to go 5 innings today. But Seabass still shut the door, and he showed his mental toughness. As Joe Sorrell, one of my co-hosts on the Bleav in Queens podcast, loves to say, he's questioning it a bit in the past, but Seabass is looking locked in right now. Even if he can't give you length, he is showing that he's able to have a strong ability to get out of jams, especially when you don't just have one, but two guys with runners in scoring position, no outs, no problem for Seabass. But guys, we get to the fourth inning. The offense continues for the Amazons, which was a whirlwind of an inning that ended up being the icing on the cake for this team, guys. You get Alonso with the double, as you would expect from Pete Alonso. He has great numbers against Zach Wheeler, as does Brandon Nimmo. Fun fact, guys, both Brandon Nimmo and Alonso I have as 2 of 3 players to watch in today's game against Wheeler. Alonso entering this game has an over 400 average, over 1,000 OPS. Brandon Nimmo has right around a 300 average, just sub 800 OPS against Wheeler and their careers respectively. So I expected these guys to have good at-bats against Wheeler, and they did early on. Alonso with the double, then Marcano with 2 outs with a beautifully placed 2-out Oppo RBI single, and then he ended up getting to second base. I know Phillies fans trying to pull their hair out, Braves fans trying to pull out their hair out too, saying, we keep winning, but it doesn't change anything in the standings. I'd be upset too, but hey, thankfully I'm not a fan of your clubs, right? Luis Gourmet would get himself a beautifully placed just out of the infield with an opposite field RBI single. Then after that, James McCann, everybody. McCann, who just missed 40's top 5 today. But I got to say, he really should have been in there. I mean, McCann, his ability with 2 outs, no less. How many times this season have we seen James McCann clutch up, shorten his swing, and get an RBI single with 2 outs? He's normally either a double play machine with 1 out, or it's a ground out machine to end the inning. No, McCann puts the ball in play, baby. Dead center, a bloop RBI single. Unfortunately, Gourmet would be hurt on that play as he limped into the dugout. He would then be with a left groin tightness. We'll see his MRI tomorrow if he's day-to-day or if he needs an IL stint, but thankfully it doesn't look like he tore anything, just tightness. So I'd imagine it's day-to-day, or again, at worst, the 10 to 15-day IL, whichever one of those days that is for a position player. But Jeff McNeil from first base goes first to third. He's aware that it was a poor throw by Marsh to the cutoff man at center. He runs home, dives in, and secures another run. He basically stole that run like McNeil has done plenty of times this year from third. And even though that RBI did not go to McCann, he only got the 1, you could rightfully argue that, if it isn't for McCann putting that ball in play, getting that RBI single, that doesn't happen to begin with. So in my mind, I kind of view McCann as having 2 RBIs because he made that play happen. And that's why I really wanted him in my top 5. He was just on the outside looking in, but trust me, he's in my thoughts right now. And trust me, I really wouldn't mind if he was in my 5 whatsoever. But that would do it for the inning then, folks. The Mets would score 4 runs in the 4th. The Mets like the number 4 today there in that 4th inning. In the 5th inning, guys, this is where Seabass would do his magician-esque type moves. You get Sheen Segura that reaches on an error, a fielding error by Pete Alonso, unfortunately. Right? You see Marsh with a double. The Walmart version right now of Jason Worth. You get Verlaine and Stott to strike out. Hoskins with a walk. Bases juice. 2 outs. And what happens? He gets Bohm to get a 69 nice mile-per-hour line out to end the inning. Chris Bassett, folks, absolutely shoved. Yes, he only went 5 innings today, but I would gladly take that given how well the bullpen performed afterwards besides Joely today in the 9th. Shout out to Chris Bassett, guys. He has now pitched 24 scoreless innings consecutively for the Mets, not allowing an earned run in each of those 24 innings. He has an ERA on the year now of 3.27, and the man that would come in relief for, that being in Chris Bassett and Trevor Williams. Trev, you can rightfully argue, should be in my mix here of top 5 too, because Trev had another beautiful outing out of the bullpen. Long reliever, 2 scoreless innings for the Mets in the 6th and the 7th. Trevor Williams has casually thrown, folks, 20 scoreless innings consecutively. Him and Bassett over 20 straight without an earned run. You take that to the bank. Trevor Williams has a 3 ERA on the year, folks. Talk about a win in hindsight in that Javi Baez deal. Yes, we gave up PCA, man. Who would have thought that Trevor Williams would have this impact on this club this season as a starter, as a reliever? This man has really been a blessing and has gotten a lot more swing and misses than maybe you realize. He's just done a phenomenal job. Shout out to Trevor Williams, one of the most rock-solid relievers in any situation the Mets have thrown him in this year that doesn't get nearly enough love, doesn't get nearly enough credit, because again, a lot of the times that he comes in to pitch for multiple innings, he comes in to pitch garbage time. So naturally when that happens, it's because the Mets are losing. You aren't as interested in watching the game. But today, the Mets with the lead, they get Trev, and that was huge to see what they did there. However, guys, let's talk about the Mets offense some more. Let's backtrack a little bit, shall we? Because you see there, In the 5th, the Mets are trying to tack on some more runs offensively. Marte with a single. However, Lindor with a strikeout and was a strike him out, throw him out, double play, and then that'll do it for the inning shortly after. In the 6th, though, Phillies fans and the broadcasters crying about the soft contact. What happens? Vogelback happens. I'm bringing Vogel back. Yeah, I'm going to get myself a Hoagie Vogie sandwich, a piss missile, a one-run dick shot. That's what you get from Hoagie Vogie, I should say. Another bomb is 3rd as a New York Met. Pull that bad boy to right. You love that from Vogie. I love Vogie. How can you not love Vogelback? He's one of my favorite Mets on this team right now. He's absolutely electric. Absolute scenes, as my man Darren. Shout out Darren, UK Mets. You know who you are. We're just talking about you here in the show. I love Vogelback. You cannot complain about soft contact there, but maybe, just maybe, Phillies casters will find a way. I don't know, guys. We get to the 7th. The Mets are up by 6. Corey Knebel, after 1 out, is pulled from tonight's game with an apparent injury. I hope for Corey's sake that he is okay. I was looking forward to Corey pitching, I'm not going to lie, because the Mets have tacked on and have done well against him this year. But then I saw him get pulled. I'm like, okay, that's unfortunate. He gets pulled. Again, hopefully it's nothing serious on his front. I don't know what his injury is. I don't know what ailment he has going on at the moment. Then you have Andrew Bellatani, who would come in and get the final 2 outs there of the 7th, folks. And then we would advance a little bit forward, guys. In the 8th inning, Jeff McNeil, more like Jeff McDouble, gets himself a double, his 27th of the year. The Mets will not score there, folks, and that will do it because we get to the 9th. Joely Rodriguez in a 6-run game in the Mets' favor. You would think, oh, Joely shouldn't be too strenuous for him to get himself these 3 outs. Joely loads the bases, bro. What are you doing? What are you doing, Joely? I was just raving about this man pitching his life out against the Atlanta Braves not long ago. 2 scoreless innings, 4 strikeouts. God forbid, we got a similar outing today from Joely. He couldn't even muster more than 2 outs for the Mets. Thankfully, he didn't give up an earned run. Adam Ottavino, cue the music, cue the Kid Cudi music. He comes in the game. He gets that final strike, which was a little beneficial by the ump there, but we take it to the bank. Mets win 6-0. That is how you wrap up this game, folks. Chris Bassett utilized that 6-pitch mix, as he always does. He had a segment in tonight's game, guys, today's game, rather, that you would say, against Rhys Hoskins, where he was staying there. We all saw, I love the split, the broadcast that SNY does. You show Hoskins, and then it kind of blurs and fades into the gradient that is Bassett on the bump at his face, and he's listening to pitch comments like, no. He's shaking off pitches for 40 seconds straight. Absolutely hilarious. Chris, he's usually really indecisive. He's usually not a big fan of using the pitch comm as is. He would like to call his own pitches, but he knows that naturally that defeats the purpose of having a catcher other than them catching, and it makes things more difficult for the catcher's vantage point. So I understand both sides here, but yeah, Seabass really was working Rhys Hoskins there for a bit. What, 40, ridiculous, literally 40 seconds to call his pitch that he wanted, shaking him off left and right. Mets now, guys, what are they on the year, guys? Can someone enlighten me on the record in the chat? I want to say there's 74-40 on the year, or 75-40. They're definitely one of the two. Regardless of what they are, let me know in the live chat, though, because I'm normally wrong, but I want to be enlightened a little bit here in the live show, guys. But, guys, let's talk now a little bit more on my biggest takeaways from today's game. You got Wardy's top 5. Continue smashing that like and subscribe button. Greatly appreciate it, folks. We're trying to get to 300 likes by the end of the live show. We're also trying to get to 18K subs for the next short-term goal on the channel. As I mentioned before, I'll say it once again. Stay tuned. I will have Bleav in Queens episode 14 out for you guys tomorrow, 6 a.m. wherever you get your audio podcast, and 12 p.m. on the channel as a premiere. Make sure to check it out, myself and Anthony Recker. 75-40. Oh, baby, that feels good. That feels damn good. 35 games above 500. We take that to the bank, baby. That is what we do. But let's now get into 14-3 in rubber games this season. Yo, shout out to my good friend Blood Diamond. I know you were at the game yesterday, brother. Hope you had a phenomenal time. I meant to actually respond back to you. I saw your message earlier. I'll try to do it before tonight as long as I remember. Again, I apologize if I forget. Glad you had a great time. Hyping the chat to Blood Diamond. And guys, let me actually get to a donation or two before I get a Warriors top 5. Just because it only feels right. Let me do that, guys. Then I'll get into Warriors top 5 on the day, and we will go from there. Let's see. Okay, Luis with a $2 donation. He says maybe a Luis missing time. Time to bring up Vientos. I doubt it. I think they'll stick with Cato, whatever the guy's name is, that plays all over the infield for the Mets. Because Vientos can't defend. Vientos is not an MLB caliber third baseman yet. There's no chance I really see a world where they bring in Vientos as a Gourmet replacement, because Gourmet is known for his glove more than anything. So I think if the Mets are valuing the glove, I don't expect Vientos up. He's not a guy that you're going to have a third. He's a guy you're going to have at DH more than anything. So that's just my opinion. That's just my take at this juncture. Blaze with the $5 donation. Thank you, brother. He says the Mets gave up 1 run in 27 innings to Phillies. I don't count that fake extra inning run. So the worst Met pitcher in this series was Max Scherzer. Yeah, what a bum. What a bum. Max has given up 1 earn over 7 with like 6+ strikeouts. I mean, forget about it. He's terrible. Yeah, that just shows you how dominant the Mets pitching was this entire matchup. And again, Phillies pitching was great. However, getting a 6-piece on Zach Wheeler, a man that I will always be a fan of, don't get it twisted, feels damn good. Out of all the games, I did not expect the Mets to beat up on Wheeler the most, but that's what happens. The Mets are beasts in rubber matches. They're beasts in day games at times too. Huge win for the team in Queens. Thank you so much for that donation, Blaze. I appreciate you. Alex Soto with the $2 dono. Alex is called Vientos due to the injury. Yeah, just as I mentioned, Alex, I love Vientos. He's more than likely not getting called up. The Mets are not going to bring up Vientos when they have their DH options already. If Vientos was an MLB caliber third baseman defensively and can come in and slot better right now than Escobar, it would have happened more than a month ago. Probably 2+ months ago with the abysmalness that we get from Eddie. And Eddie had to come in today, of course, for Vientos. Couldn't even bat from the right side of the plate when it was a lefty and righty matchup. Normally he's doing that, but he had to go lefty on lefty. Wasn't being a switcher today because he's still tight in his right side. I mean, hopefully Eddie will be healing up and well enough because we're going to need him over this next series against the Braves, I'd imagine, because I have no clue how long or short Luis Gourmet is going to be out of the line for the Mets. But Alex, thank you so much for the donation. I love Vientos, guys. Don't get me wrong. I just am not expecting him yet, and I don't think you guys should either. Donovan. Fern, thank you for the kind words. You're the nicest Phillies fan. Well, we're fine in the chat. Always appreciate you, my man. I'm proud of Joely for getting 2 outs without a visit. That's fair. I'm proud of him for that too. I'm happy that he did not surrender any runs, but it is frustrating because you'd have to imagine that there was a great chance of that happening if he stayed in the game. Ottavino was able to command the strike zone, something that Joely was really not able to do well. But thank you so much for the donation. That's a fair comment. Trying to pull positives out of one of the lone negatives tonight for sure. But thank you so much for that, Dono. Appreciate you. Let's see. I see one more. Dave with the $2 donation. Time to scalp the Braves. Tell FGM. Scalp. I don't know about scalp, but I appreciate the Dono a lot. Hype in the chat to you, Dave. Thank you so much for that one. Hopefully the Mets put up a beating on the Braves in Atlanta. That is for certain, guys. But let's get into the Warriors top 5. How's it going, Wicked? Hug. How's it going, my man? Why do you say Ugg? What's wrong, Hug? Oh, Tatis. Is that the Ugg? Yeah, I'd be Ugging too. Tatis needs to get his shit together, brother. Similar. Guys, make sure to check out Hogwash. Does exactly what we do on the channel. Does a phenomenal job, but for all things Padres. And in case you're a Chargers fan or have interest in the Chargers too, not that I expect much of you guys in the chat to be. If you are, then make sure to check out Hogwash. Does a phenomenal job on his channel. Over 6,000 subscribers, absolutely killing the game. And he is distraught that Fernando Tatis is bound to be on an 80-game suspension, as I would be too. I mean, think about a borderline generational talent coming back from injury, and now he's taking steroids at 23, 24. What are you doing, bro? There's no excuses. Do not be doing that nonsense. Hopefully he learns his lesson. But let's get on to this top 5 for the 5th and final time saying it. Chris Bass is my number 1 star. Yes, he didn't go deep into this game, but he surely did provide the Mets with 5 strong. Nasty with the Arsenal. What'll always be my favorite pitch for Bassett is that slider. I just love it. It's literally 2 different pitches. You get it in the high 70s and you get it in the, low 70s and high 70s. There's like an over 10-mile-per-hour difference in that slider depending on how he throws it. It's a bowling ball at times. I love that thing. You get Chris Bass as my number 1 star. Number 2, I'm going to go with Mark Canha just because Canha was the only guy to have a 2-hit game for the Mets today. No one else did. Mark Canha was 2 for 20 entering today. He made up for it going 2 for 4 with the RBI and the run scored. We take that to the bank. My number 3 star is Bogey Hoagie. How can it not be Hoagie Bogey? Beef? I mean, whatever you want to call Bubba, that is himself and Daniel Vogelback. 1 for 4 with the piss missile, the RBI, the run score. My number 4 star is the man that broke the record today. Francisco Lindor 1 for 3, getting the run started, baby. You call Francisco, 82 RBIs on the year. And remember that number 82? Remember the date, August 14, 2022. Francisco Lindor now owns the Mets' all-time franchise record for most RBIs in a season by the shortstop position. He passes the great, on the field, at least Jose Reyes, who originally had 81 back in the day in the early 2000s. Thank you so much for Francisco for doing a phenomenal job in what has been a huge first year under his $341 million contract. Just don't tell Andy Martino that, because Martino, being the clown that he is, try to find a way to say that, oh yeah, the Mets are overpaying Lindor by over $200 million right now. Again, there's a reason why he didn't make it available for you to answer his tweets on Twitter. You know what, Bozo? Maybe, just maybe, if you don't allow replies, you shouldn't tweet this shit in the first place. I digress. Don't get me started with that schmuck. Whatever. Number 5 star, Luis Gourmet. This is where I was battling between him and McCann. You can make your pick for either one. I'm not going to lie here at all. I love McCann. I love McCann today, rather. I haven't loved him all year by any stretch. Happy that he was able to get that clutch RBI bloop single for the Mets. Really should have been 2 RBIs, but he was gifted the 1 at least. But Luis Gourmet, prior to his injury, got himself the 1 for 2. With the run scored, the RBI, that's huge for the Mets here. And hopefully Gourmet again avoids the IL stint. And hopefully at most, he's just out for a couple days day to day. That's a wait and see, guys. But man, oh man, this was a nice win for the Mets. A nice statement win here in this game through this series. And guys, get ready. Drum roll, please. The next time the Mets and the Phillies play, next weekend, Noah Syndergaard's facing the New York Mets. He's matched up to face the Mets. If I'm not mistaken, I believe that's Sunday or whatever it is, the final day of that series. Again, I'm all over the place. I always am. All I know is I heard through the broadcast today that Noah Syndergaard is scheduled to face the Mets, as is Zach Wheeler. Unfortunately for the Mets, it does look like that they're not going to have Max or DeGrom for that series because Max and DeGrom pitch in the final 2 games of the Braves series. But if I'm being honest, I much rather they pitch against the Braves than they do the Phillies. I think the Mets can bite the bullet without them pitching against the Phillies, and hopefully the Mets bullpen, hopefully the Mets starters can grind things out. Mets have a ridiculous week coming up, guys. It's nice to see them get this series dubbed. Do not get me wrong. Do not get it twisted. But they still have now 4 games against the Braves this week. Then they got 4 against the Phillies, right? And then we got Colorado for 4. And then you got the LA Dodgers for 3 to round out the month. My birthday week, whatever the day of the week that is. A lot coming up for these Metsies. But man, oh man, they're continuing to be electric. You'll love to see that. And guys, DeGrom is not arguing with Max. The clip that I have in the highlights for you all is not them arguing. It's strictly just DeGrom explaining something to Max, and he's saying it in a certain type of manner. But he's not mad at Max. He's not arguing with him. He's just explaining something to him. You know what? Say you're pissed off about something, or you're trying to rant about something with a buddy. It's no different than me ranting to you. I might seem aggressive. I might seem mad. I'm not mad at you, though. I'm just telling you about it. And then Max is absorbing that information. Is like, yeah, saying whatever he has to say. So, no, they weren't arguing for anyone that thinks that they were. I assure you that was not the case. $2 donation from Bleav. Thank you so much for that. Imagine May, Ottavino, Lugo, Walker, McGill, the Diaz. Ooh, woo, 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 woo. Woo! We take that. The bullpen's going to be nasty down the stretch. I'm excited to see McGill. He had a bullpen session today. Drew Smith is starting to get ramped up. Both guys expected to be impactful out of the pen for the Mets down the stretch as we get closer to playoff time. Thank you so much for that donate again, Bleav. But guys, with that being said, I want to get into your comments, your questions, and concerns, and any more donations you got. So everyone in the live show, let me know today, who is your number 1 star from this 6-0 victory, this series victory over the Philadelphia Phillies? Make sure to let me know it in the live chat right now, folks. But for people on replay, let me know in the comments what your biggest takeaway again was from today's 6-0 victory, this series victory overall. And what are you looking forward to most in this 4-game set starting tomorrow against the Atlanta Braves? People in the live chat, let's get those comments now. But for people on replay, this is where we're cutting things off.